Good evening, everyone. Good evening.
Good evening.
It is currently February the 12th, 2019, and it's 5:05 p.m. I will accept a motion to open our town general session.
I'll make that motion as stated, Mayor.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any objections? With none, the meeting is now open. First order of business, we will have the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now, if we can take a moment of silence and think about those who are shut in, those who are serving our country, those who need our blessings and thoughts. Okay, now if we could take a moment of silence and rejoice in the things that we're happy about in life, the blessings that we have in our life, all the wonderful things that keeps us going, and let's think the happiness of our life. All right, thank you. I see we have a joyous bundle in the audience tonight. That's great joy. We've got a couple of them. Okay, so the next item on the agenda, we're going to move to the end of the agenda. And so we'll move forward with report on the work session. I'll report that we had a work session on Tuesday, February the 5th, 2019. We added to the agenda prior to starting the meeting was a meeting with some Latino American residents of the town to talk to them about some non-intervention activities for our police. We also added that we excused Councilmember Bowden, who was out not well. We also had an item for the use of the bus on the 23rd and the 18th for some council and state meetings. So in our meeting, items included that discussion with our Latino residents in relationship to non-intervention and what can be done in order to assist non-documented residents in the community. We discussed the fines for fire lane and official business parking, which is to be revised in our parking permit ordinance to include a specific line item related to official business parking and also the yellow line fine. So that will be updated by Mr. Barr. We talked about town LED lighting. We actually received a grant from Department of Energy for $25,000 to change all the lights in our building to LED lighting. So that should save us a lot of money, and it's also a green activity. We also discussed PEPCO or another group to help us to change all the lights in town to LED lighting. We talked about a variance for 3412 41st Avenue where they were planning to close in a porch, and there was a consensus by the council to approve that variance for their approval. It was just based on the fact that their house is grandfathered in. We talked about who is going to be attending the MML Summer Conference, and all council members and the mayor plan to attend. The Port Town Sustainable Maryland recertification, we are certified by the state of Maryland, which allows us to get grants from the state of Maryland for several activities, including capital and other activities, and we have to be recertified every 5 years. So we're up for recertification, and we will have a conversation with our other port towns on February the 25th at Bladensburg for our four-town meeting. We talked about the parking sign purchase. As you all know, we have been working on parking permits from here from almost a year now and gathering permits. And the signs were approved for purchase, and the signs will be, have been purchased, and the approval was made in order to make the purchase by the mayor and council in a and a unanimous vote. We will also be putting up signs that indicate where our where our police department is. So there'll be signs from the entrance of towns pointing up to the police department, and changing the sign out front to no parking loading and no unloading. And so just to make an extra point to this, a letter has gone out. Everyone in the town should have received the letter by now, which states that our parking permit process has ended. If you still need a parking permit, you can come up, but we can only do 1 car per household if you had not been up prior, unless then there's a change in your situation, and there are some other items that relate to temporary parking. So please refer to the letter that was sent to you in the mail as to the details, because as soon as the signs go up, enforcement will start. And so it's very important that everyone is paying attention. We have spent a lot of time trying to get this worked out. We're very excited about getting to a conclusion where our residential parking will be limited from the hours of 5 p.m. to 10 a.m. To residents only in many areas, and there will be assigned visitor parking areas for your visitors. So the next thing on the item was legislative priority, actions, next steps. Again, we have that on the 4-town meeting in Bladensburg on February the 25th to further discuss our legislative priorities, which include homeward bound assistance, assistance for MARC train station, or discussions on the MARC train station at Eastgate in Cottage City. What's the legislative priorities?
The zip code?
Hmm?
The zip code?
Yes, the zip code, speaking with our local, county, and state governments about getting our recognition as a municipality rather than simply being called a zip code, which is where the post office is in Brentwood. That would include other towns. Many towns have jumped on this as a legislative priority at this time, actually across the state, because it's hindering our ability to be recognized as a municipality when people refer to us as our postal code home. We also talked about an aesthetics ordinance, which is a 5G small cell ordinance. I will talk a little bit more this evening because we have an ordinance to speak of that. And then porta potty. We've been trying to get a porta potty over by the basketball court. Unfortunately, it turns out that Park and Planning is no longer doing porta potties. And so we'll be putting a request in order for us to actually put the porta potty up. The council voted unanimously to move forward with the porta potty, and once we have approval from Park and Planning, we will move forward on that. The council excused Councilmember Bowden, and then we also approved the use of the town bus for 223 to attend a county council meeting in Landover. If you're interested in attending, it's Kentland, right, Kentland. If you're interested in attending, please call the town hall. The event is from 10 to 12, so we'll probably leave here by 9:30 to attend that event. Also, there's an event in the state for the 47th district, which is on 3/18. That's from 6 to 8. So if you're interested in attending that, please call the town hall if you would like to ride the bus. The seniors get first priority, and that we would probably leave here about 4:30ish. And that was the end of our meeting. Thank you. We were also informed that Cottage City is going to participate with our booth at MML for Main Street and our giveaways. All right. Anything I missed, Council?
No.
Okay, moving forward on the mayor's report, I'll be very brief. I will just mention that I am the president of the Maryland Mayors Association, and we most recently had our conference in Annapolis. We spent a good amount of time at the mayors working together and talking and collaborating on different things that we can do in our communities and the things that we work on in our communities. We also met with our Prince George's delegation and Senator Augustine to speak of specific issues, which one in fact is the 5G, which we're going to talk a little bit about on this agenda. We also talked about the CSX train and the limitations and the issues and problems, which is one of our legislative priorities, I missed to say. We have had several meetings about the CSX train, including how it's interrupting people's lives and the danger of people crossing the street. We had Green Team meeting, which someone may report on. I've met a few times with the staff on the parking permits, so as we move forward. The Maryland Black Mayors, we've met with the Maryland Black Mayors. We had good conversations about what we might do with the furloughs. We are planning to do a Colmar Manor unwind on March the 8th. I hope that you're all able to come out, relax, play some cards, watch some movies, have the kids downstairs with the moon bounce, and just come out and chill out for an evening, because the furlough has impacted so many of us, and it's not as short-term as the days that it was. It's something that has carried forward onto more people than it had originally. We had a great Recreation Council. We have a new Recreation Council president, Larissa. Everybody knows her as Reese. I keep forgetting her last name. But she was gracious enough to step up, and there's been some wonderful ideas for some wonderful events that going forward that we're looking forward to having. And the chief is going to mention the event that she's planning, which you guys are going to want to come to in April. And so it's been a pretty full month, and we got a lot of stuff done. And I look forward to all of the events that we're going to have going forward. It's going to be a pretty exciting year. Moving forward, council report, Ward 1.
No report, thank you.
Ward 2.
Absent.
You want to excuse her, Mayor?
Yeah. we can
Okay.
excuse.
Is there someone makes a motion to excuse Councilmember Bowden?
I'll make a motion to excuse Councilmember Bowden from the town meeting.
Is there a
That
second?
motion is stated.
Okay. Is there any objections? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it, and Councilmember Bowden has been excused. Okay, Ward 3.
Yes, good evening. I just want to pity pat off of the mayor to let you all know that our new county council, Jolene Ivory, she'll be having that town hall meeting. It's at the Kidland Community Center, and she'll have other outreach. She'll have vendors there, so you can get more information on it. But the town hall meeting is February the 23rd, and it's in Kidland Community Center, and it's at from 10 to noon. And just like the mayor said, if you are interested in going, we consider as you having a bus for some people that don't want to drive, or seniors may want to get a ride there. Also, I wanted to talk about the county just started the work summer job program for kids from 14 to 17. I'm excited. Terrell can get a job. 14 to 17. They're accepting applications now. You can go online, or if you need information, please contact me. I can forward you the email. Also, we want to say happy birthday to Tracy Stone. Tracy Stone is our meteor
Happy birthday
guy.
to
He's in the
you.
back. He just celebrated a birthday on February the 10th, so we want to say happy birthday to him. Just be mindful, residents, that not only in my ward, please pick up the poop. We're still seeing a lot of poop in the area. But that's it for Ward 3. Thank you.
No, nothing.
Ward 4.
No board report.
All
Thank
right,
you.
thank you so much. Okay, so moving on our agenda is the treasurer's report. Treasurer Dan Baton is currently absent, and so I will give you an overview of the report. If you haven't had the opportunity to, there's some on the table. On the first page of the report includes our gross profits. Gross profits are currently at 54.8% of expectation. As my rule of thumb, I go by the percentage we are on the year. We're currently at 58% of the year, so we're very close to in line with that budget item. On page 2, for general government expenditures, wow, it says we're at 100,000, which is odd. I have to ask Mr. Baton to give us more thorough impact on why that item is so high. I think it's associated with something high. Going on down for payroll for general government, it's within 51%, so that's lower than our budget. Next line item is for the senior van, that's at 54%, so we're within budget. For code enforcement, we're only at 12.5%. We're very happy to have our code enforcement officer on duty, Mr. Richardson, and he's been out and about and trying to do a good job, so we're happy to have him on board. Public Works, we're at 53%, which is within budget. We have our Community Town Center at 54.4%, which is in budget. For public safety, we're at 35.6%, and that is a lower number because we're still working on hiring. We are swearing in one of our officers tonight very happily, but we still have another officer to bring on board, and so we're looking forward to that happening soon. For the chief of police, we're at 31.8%, and that is again because there were a period of time while we were working on our records with Cottage City that was lowered that budget cost a bit. For the community center operations and our rental incomes, we're at 57.3%, so we're right in line on those expenditures. Overall, the total budget's at expenses are at 39.4%, with some items that will be picked up moving forward. For the balance sheet, we currently have $154,878.93 in our bank accounts. We have personal property tax receivable of $43,687. That is the taxes on business properties that comes in throughout the year. For our current assets, we have, which includes receivables, estates, deposits, our investment account, $1,004,989.76, or total current assets of $1.203556 million. For our loans, we have a $2.471627 million loan, which is on this facility. Accounts payable is none. For current liabilities, we have deferred property taxes of $32,000. For payroll liabilities, $2,000. We have a total current liabilities of $39,132. Our bond, we have a long-term bond liability of $2.571 million, which is the same as the building loan. And our fund balance unreserved is $787,860,000, and our net income for this year is $376,558.42. That's the conclusion of the financial report. Is there a motion to accept the financial report?
Yes, I make that motion as stated, Mayor.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? None, I'll call for a vote. Ward 1?
Aye.
Ward 2? Absent. Ward 3?
Aye.
Ward 4?
Aye.
And the mayor votes aye. This has been accepted. Thank you, council. Our next item of business will be the police report. Chief?
Good evening, everyone. On the reports written for the month of January, we had 10 written reports. On January 3rd, PG County wrote a missing persons report, but on January 22nd, the missing person was returned home. On January 4th, Sergeant Sims responded to the 3400 block of 41st Avenue for vandalism to auto. On January 6th, PG County was on a proactive patrol in the 4100 block of Bladensburg Road, where they observed 5 people loitering. They were sent on their way. On January 7th, PG County received a call for a sex offense. This is an isolated incident. On January 9th, Sergeant Sims responded to the Shoppers Food Warehouse for an assault. On January 9th, Cottage City officer responded to the 3400 block of 39th Place for theft from auto. On January 10th, Sergeant Sims responded to the Shoppers Food Warehouse for another assault call. On January 13th, PG County responded to the Shoppers Food Warehouse for a stolen auto, but that auto was recovered. On January 15th, Officer Williams responded to the 3800 block of Newton Street for a theft from a mailbox. On January 22nd, Officer Williams responded to the 4300 block of Newton Street for a stolen auto, but the vehicle was recovered before it was reported stolen. Calls for service. We have 4 accidents, 1 alarm residential, 3 commercial alarms, 2 animal complaints, 2 assault calls, 3 assisted other agency calls, 16 check person calls, 8 check perimeter. We had 10 disorderly calls, 1 lost call, 1 missing/return call, 1 sex offense, 2 stolen autos, 2 suspicious persons, 2 thefts, 1 theft from auto, 2 threats call, 1 trespassing, 1 vandalism report. I just want to let everybody know that we have 1 officer that is officially off FTO, and he is on the streets. We're going to be swearing him in tonight. I'm very excited. We are now in the process of hiring another female. I am conducting her background, and I hope to have her to start by the beginning of March. The police department will be hosting an ice cream and movie night in April. I have flyers on the desk. Please come by, visit, so we can let you know more details about that. I also want to give you code enforcement updates. Code enforcement has been given the task of making sure that the business license are up to date. So code enforcement noticed that 7 businesses were not in compliance. As of 2/11 of 2019, 4 of the businesses has complied, and letters have been sent to the other 3 businesses. He has 1 vacant property that has been registered. He has given out 4 snow violations, 9 warnings for unregistered vehicles, 26 warnings for open storage, 1 warning for graffiti, 6 violations letters sent, 4 citations issued. So it was 2 for snow, 2 registered vehicle, and he had 1 paid fine. And with all of this, he's granted 3 extensions. That is my report, and I respectfully ask that you accept this report.
Is there any questions for the chief? Okay.
Just kind of was disturbing to see about the theft on the mailbox, because one of the things that I bragged about town, that we can have stuff come here and nobody bother it. So that was kind of like, oh, a sour. Also wanted to say that I know some of the residents see the police officers in the shopping center. I'm one to catch the bus, and sometimes the conversation is what's going on at Shoppers. But I try to let them know the police is there to make sure nothing does go on, and their lights are on just in case you need something. So I really want to thank Colmar Manor and College City Police just being out there, because I get off the bus and I walk, and I always see Officer Sergeant Sims out there, you know. So I just want to thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you. I have a question about the theft in the mailbox. Is that a theft by somebody knew, or how did they know it was a theft?
He was expecting a package. It was actually, he said it was inside the mailbox. It was FedEx, if I'm correct. And in the receipt, it stated that it was left in the mailbox. And when he got there, it wasn't nothing in there. I do want to do a follow-up just to make sure that it wasn't something that they claim it was left, but he probably did receive it later.
Maybe,
because he's going off of a tracking.
Right, the tracking,
okay.
right.
So the tracking state it was left on this date, but it very well could have, I've had something delivered to the station, and the tracking showed it was there, but I didn't get it till like 3 days later.
Right, yeah.
So we do have to do a follow-up on that.
Okay, well, hopefully that was the case, that it's just something that has gotten missed. Because as Councilmember Jackson said, we generally haven't had any kind of issues like that. For the assault at the Shoppers Food, were those 2
Customers.
related?
They're customers.
They were customers, were the 2 on the 9th and the 10th related to each other? Or they were
No.
completely separate? It was just
Separate.
disruptive customers? Okay. amongst each other.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. All right, is there a motion to accept the police report, chief's report?
Yes, I'll make that motion as stated.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, the ayes have it. Thank you, chief. Appreciate it. Okay, so next item is approval of the minutes. So the first set of minutes, which we can do separately, is the April 24th minutes, where we've had several corrections that have taken place over a period of time. We have combed through this minutes in relationship to the extra video. In fact, the last item, which was, the motion,
There's no second on it, Mayor.
no, it's a motion by Councilmember Jackson, a second by Councilmember Blue. The citizens' discussion, the citizens desired the exemption from the pesticide to obtain a waiver, and it was voted 5-0. That's what was missing from the
That was
minutes
Last time.
from the past. So that's been fulfilled. And so I would accept a motion to approve the minutes of April the 24th, 2018.
With that correction.
Well, it's been corrected.
It's already-
They made
it's
it.
already
They've
corrected.
done it.
Okay.
It's that first paragraph, is this one right here. Yeah.
I'll make that motion to approve the special general session minutes from Tuesday, April the 24th, 2018.
And I second that motion, Mayor.
Okay, and there's a second. Any discussion? Call for a vote. Ward 1.
Aye.
Ward 2. Absent. Ward 3.
Aye.
Ward 4.
Aye.
And mayor votes aye. Okay, these minutes have been now approved for April 24th. Moving on for April 8th, January the 8th minutes, and also, okay, the work session, okay, we had the work session and the town meeting on the same date. And I accept a motion to approve these minutes for January 8th for the work session and the general session.
I'll make that motion as stated, Mayor.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion?
There was a, oh wow, there was a typo, I recall, oh yeah. Discussion on the town meeting minutes, January the 8th, just a typo on, in Ward 3 report that the year says 1920. It's just a typo.
Oh, okay.
That's a typo.
Okay,
Yeah.
interested in running. You've been in position since what year? 2010?
Yes.
What year is it?
Oh, 2020. 2020.
No, council in, oh, interested in running
Yeah.
in 2020.
Right, it was just a typo.
Oh, what, 1920, re-elected? Oh, that should be 2020. Okay, got it. Okay. And as far as discussion, since I did not, as I usually report out the work session, since the work session followed the town meeting, I'll just do an overview. The minutes are here for you to read them in detail, but the mayor and council did select dates to do a retreat, which is a time when the mayor and the council get together just to talk about administrative issues and non-voting issues moving forward. The date was selected 2/16, however, the date's been changed to 2/23 for the mayor and council to meet from 12 to 3. February's retreat, okay. We agreed to review, we looked at purchasing of a new stove, but we agreed to do some research and to look in if repairs can be made so that we can use the stove to its fullest abilities. We talked about purchasing an ice machine, in which we had a similar conversation to see what can be done about that. We talked about getting a new copy machine that will be included in our next budget starting July 1st because the copy machine has needed extensive repairs. Colmar Manor Day is scheduled for September the 28th. The Maryland Municipal League, Main Street, we did agree to make, we agreed to working together to work on that event. We talked about the LED lights, the street lights, which we talked about in the most recent meeting. Again, parking permits, which we talked about extensively. We talked about trailers, where we would actually be updating the ordinance so that we would be charging for trailers of residents, and we also would not be giving out registration for non-resident businesses with trailers at all. That trailer would have to be parked in a separate lot, but we'll be passing that ordinance soon. Councilmember Marion Jackson asked about the porta potties. I just mentioned that a little bit before about what we were trying to get the porta potty by the basketball court at the cage. The motion was made by Councilmember Blue to close the session, to go into a closed session, which we went into unanimously. We came out of the closed session at 9:26, and then we spoke about mentioning that Legit offers sexual harassment and social media training, and has asked the town to look into this online so that we can get that done. And at 9:30, the work session was adjourned with a unanimous vote. Okay.
Mayor.
With that as a discussion, I'll call for a vote for the approval of January 8th minutes for the work session and the general session. Ward 1,
Aye.
Ward 2,
Absent.
Ward 3,
Aye.
Ward 4,
Aye.
and the mayor votes aye. Okay. Done. Okay, so unfinished, which is the parking permits, which relates to the trailers. I would have to say that I would like for us to move this for further discussion at the work session so that we can include the fines and the other restrictions that we discussed for the trailers.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
may I suggest that we introduce the ordinance tonight, proposed ordinance tonight, so that, excuse me, it can be discussed at the work session and then amended and adopted at the, following the public hearing at the next meeting. It will give the council more latitude in
I think that the significance of the change that needs to be made here, which is specifically a fine, I mean, not a fine, a
A fee.
is too significant for us to introduce it without.
you believe
change.
that the additions are material?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, sir.
Yeah.
Well, then, if you amend them before the public hearing, even though you introduce it, even though those changes are material, as long as you have the public hearing after the changes are added, you are not violating any rule with regard to adoption of an ordinance. It's only where you make material changes after a public hearing that you have to have a new public hearing.
I think time is on our side with
Okay.
this item, so
It's
we
fine.
can go ahead and look at it again.
Yeah.
Is there any other thoughts from the council members?
No, I agree with you, Mayor. I just want to look at it again because we do have a lot of trailers in town, so we want to make sure that
fees.
Do this right.
we're doing it right. So,
Okay, all right. And Mr. Barr, also, we had talked about changing, adding into the permit about the parking for official business owners.
Yes,
As
but
also-
that's not a trailer matter. That's
But it's in the same ordinance.
it can be in the same
I
ordinance.
mean, in terms of it's altering the
Yes.
parking ordinance.
We can add that in.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Barr, appreciate that. Okay, so our next item of business, which is, so that was unfinished, this is new business. Our only new business is related to an aesthetics ordinance for the 5G small cells. Just to speak of this lightly, the FCC has approved telecommunication agencies the ability to install equipment to allow them 5G, which is fifth generation telecommunication services, which will allow phone companies, particularly mobile phone companies, to have more access to unlimited data, which they're running into a problem. The issue, which we and the Maryland Municipal League entirely as their priority agenda, is the fact that this has not been coordinated with the municipalities or any local governments, and in fact, this would allow any and many cellular companies to put up to 6 feet and more sized items on poles every 150 feet to 300 feet, which will create and can create an environmental visual pollution with multiple companies, with multiple different articles of items being placed in many places. This ordinance would restrict the aestheticsness, the number of, and several other things that the town would be in control of once an application is put in place. I am submitting that we put in an emergency ordinance, an emergency meaning it happens now, as opposed to going through, while waiting to go through the full ordinance process, because the FCC has authorized by January the something that they can start putting in applications for this. And therefore, if someone was to submit an application before we've approved this ordinance, we cannot retroactively affect them. So I'm asking the council if there's a motion in place for us to accept this ordinance, which I think would be ordinance 0.
I think it would be 1/2019.
Okay, 1/2019, 01/2019.
Oh, I'm sorry.
01/2019.
01/2019 to move forward on this particular ordinance.
I'll make that motion, Mayor, to accept this ordinance number 01/2019.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion? Okay, with none, I'll call for a vote. Ward 1,
Aye.
Ward 2,
Absent.
Ward 3,
Aye.
Ward 4,
Aye.
and the mayor votes aye. Okay, thank you.
Ordinance stands introduced
Ordinance is emergency ordinance.
and stands
It
introduced.
stands introduced. Okay,
And once introduced, it has to go to public hearing and then adoption, which would be next month, and then it would be stand adopted.
but as an emergency ordinance, just to take effect as of today.
No,
But
it
we
takes
still
effect
go-
of the day it's adopted.
Okay, so we're doing an emergency ordinance, something we want to take effect today, and we can still go through that process, but that's the normal process, that's not an emergency ordinance.
You go through the normal process. The difference is that it becomes effective
I'm sorry, Mr.
immediately
Barr, I
upon
can't
its
hear you.
adoption. You have to take it to a public hearing.
He's saying that you can't do it that way.
Okay.
He's explaining it.
Yeah, because that would be what we normally would do, would go to the public hearing, and then after public hearing, we would do an adoption. That's the normal process.
That's correct, and normally those ordinances are effective 45 days after their enactment. Here, we want it to become effective immediately. It will be, if we adopt it on the next meeting, which would be March the 12th, next general meeting, it would become effective on March the 12th, and that is before the governor would sign and accept an emergency legislation in Annapolis, before the governor would sign any such bill. So we would, in effect, have the same advanced notice to companies working in Colmar Manor that we have amended our ordinances to apply to them on aesthetics.
So, and we can talk about this a little bit further, but the FCC has already authorized them to put in applications anywhere they want. And
The
then the
FCC
application has
has.
to go to process. And the
Right.
My understanding, if the application is accepted, I mean, yes, if an application has been accepted, we cannot retroactively go through an ordinance. So I thought that there is a methodology for us to actually submit for an emergency ordinance that will go into effect
You
immediately.
can't make an ordinance retroactive.
Right.
That's a violation of the U.S. Constitution. But you can make an ordinance effective the day it's adopted. You have to introduce an ordinance. Thereafter, you have to have a public hearing, and thereafter, you may adopt it.
Okay,
So
so
tonight we introduced it. On March the 12th, we'll have a public hearing and then we can adopt it.
Yes,
Or we can schedule.
A public hearing
before
or
then.
then.
you can schedule a meeting, but you have to
Post, yeah,
You have to post this.
Oh, absolutely.
And advertise it.
absolutely.
Okay, but we can have a public meeting before then, so perhaps
Yes.
we can try to have a public meeting next week.
2 weeks, I believe, Mayor.
2
I
weeks.
think it's 28
March.
days after adoption. I'll have to check. 28 days after it's introduced. But I have to
Okay,
check.
so I'm going to move forward with the seniors report. Do we have a seniors report?
No. Oh, I can give a report briefly. I was at the last senior meeting. They had bingo, and they had a speaker, Megan Parker, spoke about life insurance. And we played bingo, and it was a pretty good turnout in a small lunch. And the next meeting is the first Wednesday of next month.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. And Garden Club Garden Club report?
Yes. Our next Garden Club meeting is this Saturday, February the 16th, from 10 to noon, here in the conference room. We still have garden plots available. Right now, we're focusing on looking at material, how we can redo a lot of our garden plots as far as making them sustainable. We're also reaching out to any sponsors that want to sponsor the garden club. We're looking into Lowe's and Home Depot to see if they can help us as far as being a sponsor, and we'll put their name on our somewhere on the plots. So if you're interested in joining the garden club, please come to the meeting, which is this Saturday from 10 to noon. Thanks.
Okay, is there a green team report?
Yes, the Green Team. Last month, Colmar Manor Green Team had a jointly meeting in Carter City, which was a great turnout.
That was right.
We want to thank Carter City Green Team for hosting the meeting. I'm not going to go over all the items that we touched because I can be here all night. But one of the things we are going to do jointly is the Dueling Creek cleanup, which is April the 27th. And I can give you more information if you want to come to our Green Team meeting. Also, we talked about the Baywatch Maryland Yardstick program. We are so blessed to have 2 master gardens, one in the town of Colmar Manor and one in Carter City. And the master gardeners will go over probably at our next meeting of how residents can come a Baywatch Yardstick certification. It's a process when you have like a checklist of things they want to come, that the master garden will come in and make sure that your home is environmental friendly. Yeah. So and our next meeting
Is that for the residents?
is for the
They come out and
residents,
do that?
yeah. So so one of the things that we pledged at the last Green Team meeting is to have hopefully 10 residents in Colmar Manor and 10 in Carter City to be Baywatch Maryland certification. Now, I heard in some type of county they're giving some incentives, but it has not trickled over to Prince George's County at this time. But if we, at least we're ahead of the game. So when it does come to the county, we'll have residents already been certified for it.
Great.
That's great.
What else we talked about? What else we talked about? Okay, we also talked about sharing the beautification certificate with Carter City Garden Club. We're going to do that. Our next Green Team meeting, which is here on February the 19th, is Tuesday at 7 p.m. The Green Team meeting is always an open meeting. Everybody is invited. We will have Mike from the University of Maryland, Sustainable Maryland program. He'll be coming in to talk to Colmar Manor because now it's time for us to be recertified. So he'll go over what we need to do so we're recertified. Thank you.
What
That's
time is
it.
that meeting?
That meeting's at 7 o'clock. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, I have the next item is the recreation report. So Councilmember Bowden is absent. We are actually blessed to have our council member, oh, is she here? No, we have our staff, Renee Watts from Recreation. She decided to set in the meeting.
swearing in.
I know you were, but if you can just give us a
highlights.
short review. There's so much wonderful things happening in recreation right now, and I'd hate to see
Okay,
people miss it.
hello, Mayor, Attorney, Chief, Council, and our guests. My name is Renee Wass. I'm the Recreation Coordinator here at Colmar Manor Town Hall. And this Saturday, in fact, we're having our Black History event right here in this lovely hall from 3 to 6 p.m. Please come out. We have a lot of talent. That's our theme, is to showcase talent. And then we'll have a free gift shop that we have food and clothes and some toys. So come out and enjoy the program with us. Bring your friends and your family and enjoy the talent that we have really searched here and there and around nationally for. So come out and enjoy. As the mayor had mentioned, we're also doing an unwind event. Flyers will be going out. That's for the furloughed government workers, and we plan on having a nice meal and games and time to relax, and for the adults and children. So the flyers will be out soon with that. I have so much that we're planning. So at my next meeting, I will have a more detailed report.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
And
you.
before then, I think that we'll be sending something out to everybody so everybody can see the list of wonderful things we'll have going on throughout the rest of the year. So thank you so
Thank you.
much. Thanks for giving us that update. Okay, PGCMA.
Good evening, everyone. PGCMA, Prince George's County Municipal Association, will be meeting on Thursday in the wonderful town of Riverdale Park. I will make sure I'll have a detailed message for you at our next general session meeting in March.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Okay, actually, I see Mr. Brown here for from Delegate Fennell's office. Do you have any words from the delegate, Mr. Brown?
It's busy.
Yes, yes, fight for
Yes, we're
15.
excited about that.
Fight for 15.
It's still in the committee, so
Yes.
we're waiting on a vote for that, so that's a big thing that's going on right now.
Okay, well, I'm very excited and appreciate the work that Delegate does as well as yourself. Thank you so much. I did notice that there was a call. I wasn't expecting, it said from Delegate Fennell, a conference call. Is that something new that she's doing? It was over Twitter, and I don't really get on Twitter that often, so I missed it.
That was yesterday?
Yes,
Yes, I heard the call, but she was in a meeting, so she,
wasn't able to make it, it just wound up on my calendar. Oh, okay, all right, well, I thought that was interesting, so, another.
further information, I'll let you know.
Okay, thanks so much, I appreciate it. Okay, I also want to recognize Ms. Laverne from Newton Street. Had passed away within the last month, and she lived here for a lot of years. Most recently had to move up to New York with her family, and so we wish condolences to her family and her friends, and to say that thank you for being a part of Colmar Manor. Anybody else?
And should be missed.
Oh,
should be missed.
absolutely. And thank the residents that live around her, that looked after her. That's very appreciative to look after her when she was here.
And I'll just tell you that a lot of people don't know it, but the whole contact list with your emergency contacts, it really originated from her situation, where it clearly came to us that we needed to be able to know where you are, who are your other family members, and who are emergency contacts, so that we can reach out to someone when someone is in distress here. And I hope everybody understands that that's the importance of the contact list. And so for these many years later, thank you. We all send off something new that's helpful to people, and Ms. Laverne helped us to do that. So that will conclude our regular meeting, unless there are some citizen comments. Does anybody have any citizen comments to share? Okay, Okay, with none, I will let you know, remind everybody, we are on YouTube. You can go in and see any of our town meetings on a regular basis, and check out our votes on our website and updates in the minutes as well on the website. And you can view us on Verizon and Comcast. And is there anything that you have for the good of the order? Any
Just have
council member?
One thing, just want to remind residents that District 47 night in Annapolis is March the 18th, from 6 to 8. If you're interested in going, please let us know, because we're thinking about having a bus to go down. This is their first meeting for 2019. You get to meet your new senator, Malcolm Augustine, Delegate Diana Fennell, and also the newly Julian Avery.
Thank you, indeed. Mr. Barr?
Madam Mayor, I wonder if the mayor and council would consider adding to their adoption of Ordinance 1, 2019, some words with regard to the passage of an emergency ordinance. Specifically, Section 307 of the town charter provides for the passage of ordinances. It says an ordinance may not be passed as amended, rejected, or deferred within 60 days of it, shall not be, I beg your pardon, I had the wrong section here. In the case of an emergency, as set forth in a finding made by the town council, the period between introduction and adoption may be suspended by unanimous vote of the members of the town council who are present, but in no case less than 2/3 of those eligible to vote. So with 5 here, we need 5 members to vote in the affirmative, and I believe that was accomplished. The reasons for that are set forth in the ordinance in Section 3, where it says, be it further enacted pursuant to the authority contained in Section 307 of the town charter, the mayor and county council hereby declare and find that for the good government of the town, timely enforcement of the foregoing matter as an ordinance of the town is necessary in the public interest. And I would hope that the maker of the motion to adopt and the seconder would include that in their motion for introduction and adoption, excuse me.
Okay.
And is that correct?
Yes, so the maker of the motion, just Councilmember Blue,
Blue,
accept the language in relationship to an emergency motion to introduce and adopt and suspend the time in between for the good of the government.
I'll make a motion to state it.
Okay,
And I would hope that the mayor...
Amend that in that motion.
Amend your motion to that.
Mhm.
And then, so say you all?
Yes.
Yes, I'll second.
Any opposition? Okay, so the amendment to the motion stands, and the vote is Ward 1,
Aye.
Ward 2,
Absent?
Ward 3,
Aye.
Ward 4.
Aye.
Mayor votes aye. Okay, so we have introduced and adopted this motion. We will have further discussion for the public in relationship to the motion, so that there's further understanding. As this motion applies to the right-of-way of the towns of Colmar Manor and property, it does not extend currently to the personal property of homeowners in the community. We would like to expand this conversation because it could be that personal property owners may in fact wind up with requests for these items of material as well from these communication companies. So we will have further conversation going forward, but please be questioning and question us if someone approaches you about putting these things up in your yard. And we'll talk about that further. With no further discussion, is there any? Okay, is there a motion for us to adjourn this meeting?
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting. I'm not going to do the swearing in.
Yeah. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Well, I was doing
that's
it
why
outside of the meeting. Okay, I'm thinking of it differently, but I'm, can I do that, Mr. Barr?
Yes.
I'm sorry.
I want to adjourn the meeting to do the swearing in, or do I need to do the swearing in?
Oh, no,
within
you
the
can, you
meeting?
could, I would do the meeting after, pardon me, I would adjourn the meeting after the swearing.
After the
Right.
swearing. Okay, all right.
You always said it.
Okay, thank you. All right, so, I'm sorry, I was thinking of this differently, because I'm going to move on. But what we want to do, and the big event for tonight, is the swearing in of Officer Williams. So, Officer Williams, can you join me at the podium?
Yep. Got it ready.
Oh, no, bring him up.
Yeah.
Bring him up.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Yes. Oh,
That's a great picture.
Okay, can you raise your right hand? Okay, this is the Town of Colmar Manor Police Officer's Oath of Office, the State of Maryland, the County of Prince George's County. I, Richard Williams,
I, Richard Williams,
do swear that I will support the Constitution
do swear that I will support the Constitution
of the United States,
of the United States,
and that I will be faithful
and that I will be faithful
and bear true allegiance
and bear true allegiance
to the State of Maryland,
to the state of Maryland,
and support the Constitution and laws thereof,
and support the Constitution and laws thereof,
and that I will
and that I will
do the best of my skill and judgment diligently
do the best of my skill and judgment diligently
and faithfully,
and faithfully,
without partiality or prejudice,
without partiality or prejudice,
execute the office of police officer
execute the office of police officer
of the Town of Colmar Manor
in the town of Colmar Manor
in Prince George's County, Maryland,
and Prince George's County, Maryland,
according to the Constitution and the laws
and according to the Constitution and the laws
of the state
of the state
and the charter laws of Prince George's County,
and the charter laws of Prince George's County,
together with the charter
together with the charter,
and ordinances of the Town of Colmar Manor.
together with the charters and ordinances of Colmar Manor.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Welcome, Councilman.
Chief, get in. I can
Hold it up. Tracy. There are two more. No, I'm teasing.
Somebody get a picture of the signing? Take a picture of the signing. Thank you. Okay, so we have some refreshments in the back. Is there a motion for us to adjourn this meeting?
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Meeting is adjourned.
Do you have a copy of this? It's not written on. I wrote it. This is your night. quiz going, there's a new quiz going on.